this for? It's got me turned around, but I can't ignore the feelings that I found in this whole damn thing that we got going. You hold the strings without me knowing. Why do I have to suffer through the thinking? Why do I have the feeling that we're sinking? I need to find a way.
Hold up. If you turn around, you gon' face the lid. Shooting from above, go to sleep, you're dead, What? 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 Bring it back now. What? 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 Bring it back now. I got the moves.
All right, good morning. Let's do a quick audio check here. Oh. A little tired this morning, not gonna lie. Audio seems good. Oh. Let's kind of go over what we're looking at so far this morning. Got a pivot at 15,235 here on the NQ. So open up right below the pivot. Got a pivot to the upside on the ES at 44.35. So also opening up below the pivot. A little further down, ES is at 44.28 here. We just took sell side liquidity on both the ES and the NQ. So I would imagine that we would get a move up from here potentially, but that's what I would kind of imagine. So we took sell side here. So probably going to be looking for a structure shift back to the upside. Or maybe it just continues to sell off, but ES has just kind of been selling off since about 1 a.m. Just been selling off here. Got about 10 seconds here until 3 a.m. We'll kind of see what we get. See if we get a shift in structure. There we go. Both the ES and the NQ are down below the VWAP and the 20 SMA. Opening up this morning session kind of in a sell pattern there. Alrighty. ES moving down to 44.25. Nasdaq all the way down to 15.217. Just kind of waiting here to see what price offers us. Not much to do yet. Potentially kind of finding a bottom here at the 44.24 on the ES. Got the lows from yesterday down here at the 44.10 level on the ES. Wouldn't expect us to make it that low, but guess you never really know, right? Oh, just kind of waiting this morning, being patient, see what the what kind of setup the market offers us here. See what we get offered. Looking for a potential bounce out of here. Maybe a market structure shift back to the upside. You know, you're really looking for it to kind of take out an important level of liquidity. And then maybe have a shift back to the upside. So just kind of be patient with it here. Watching both the NQ and the ES. See what we can get. Kind of basing out here at the 23 level on the ES. Seems to have kind of found some support there. Kind of found a little support here at the bottom. See if this is kind of our potential reversal area here. Or not. If this is your first time joining us, this is, I specifically am looking for the silver bullet setup here between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Eastern time. Do trade this session 5 days a week. And, yeah, and also trade the New York session starting at 9:20 a.m. 5 days a week. So starting to get a bit of life back to the upside here on the NQ as well as on the ES. See if we get a structure shift back to the upside or not that leaves us some sort of PD array for an entry. Ugh. I'm a little tired this morning, not gonna lie. Was sleeping so good when the alarm went off and was like, what is this? But not too big a deal to get up for an hour in the middle of the night, maybe a little bit more. So on the 1 minute chart here, we really want to see a structure shift beyond this kind of little swing high here. Like to really have it break that 20 SMA and then trade back into some sort of PD array there, but don't always get what you want. ES is kind of making the same little pushback up here. ES approaching the 20 SMA now in the 1 minute. Not quite there on the 3 minute chart yet. So we have a structure shift to the upside there on the 1 minute chart. Leaving a volume imbalance here, 13,220 or 15,220. Let's see here, just kind of watching this area. So pushing out of there quite nicely. Like a little more push to the upside here, to be honest, but this is considered a market structure shift, and I didn't trust my instincts on this last night, but we're going to trust it today. Because we're going to do 2 contracts since we 15,220. Since we don't have to, we're only risking 5 handles here. 220, 50. Uh, 1475. Okay, we'll see if we get tagged in here. We may have to move this up a little bit. But looking for to get filled here with 2 contracts. We would take our first profit up here. The second one potentially up here. The 50s. If we can get tagged in here. All right. So I do like the risk on this potential entry here. We're risking basically 5 handles. So 2 contracts, that's going to be $400 on this potential entry. Looking at the 3 minute chart here on the NQ. We also have a volume imbalance down here at the bottom. So you kind of have this order block with a volume imbalance down here. So I'm looking for this to kind of trade back into that volume imbalance and tag us in for this move up if we can get it. We do have the market structure shift that we're looking for on the 3 minute chart as well. And the ES, we do have a shift to the upside there on the ES too. So let's just see if we can get tagged in here. And see if we can let this trade play out, potentially. Traded above the 20 SMA there on the 1 minute chart, kind of approaching it now on the 3 minute. The ES is pretty much in unison right here, looking the same. So you can see we did print that fair value gap there on the 3 minute chart at 25. Let's see if price comes all the way back down to our volume imbalance here. Let's see. It may not. We have to move this entry up a little bit. If I have to move the entry up, then I don't know that I'll love the risk to reward on 2 contracts there. So we are approaching this pivot here at 35 on the NQ. So let's kind of see what happens here. So we may have to reduce down to 1 contract if it doesn't come down and tag us in down here where we want it. Trading through the 35 level there at that pivot. A for sure market structure shift at this point. To the upside there. Just waiting for it to kind of turn back down a little bit here and offer us an entry. I don't know that it'll trade all the way back into this 20 level. Could move our entry up here to 25, but at 25, I don't know if I like 2 contracts there. Not a huge fan of the risk that we would have to take on at that level. No, it's only 4 more handles, but like to see it return to this imbalance. We'll see what we get here. Just kind of watching it here. I may have to reduce down to 1 contract here. Just take one of these off, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to take these 2 orders off. We're going to only take 1 contract on this entry here. May have to take it a little higher than I like. I'm watching the 3 minute chart here. I'd like to get down to 25, 24.50. If it starts to bounce out of here, we'll just go ahead and take it on both. Trying to be patient with it here, see if we can get the best entry possible, but don't want it to go without us. It's kind of my issue sometimes, is having confidence that it's going to come all the way back and tag me in here.
Order filled. Order filled.
All right, we're just going to go ahead and take the entry here. Probably a bad idea, but as soon as I enter, it will likely come back to where we thought it would and tag us in, right? That's usually the way it goes. Yeah, I really should have waited for it. This would have been an okay entry at 30. 6 handles above that. This kind of goes back to my impatience sometimes, because this likely is going to trade all the way back down to 24, potentially even 20. See, if I just put my standing order there at 24.75, this would probably fill us. But that'll be all right, even if it doesn't trade back into that area. It's okay. Just have to take a little more heat on this trade than we probably would have. Would have had another probably 9 handles lower on the fill. So let's just see what happens here. I don't like, I'd like to normally target this kind of swing high here for my first take profit. But since I wasn't patient and got a worse fill than I wanted, we may have to take a little bit of short profit here. I don't know. Potentially get up to the 65 though, now that I'm looking at it. That's the really the swing high that we should be targeting, so if you're not aware, we got top step on the left and apex on the right there. Can't believe I took that entry. I know better. It's not that I think it's a bad trade. I'm just giving up, 10 points there that could be in the bank. Got to get better at that, better at my patience, waiting on this thing to come back to where I think it's going to go for an entry. All right, now we want to see it kind of get back through that 38 level strong there, and then maybe possibly trade through the VWAP there at 50. Nice and strong. ES made it almost to the VWAP a minute ago. Traded up to the 44.3150 before kind of rejecting that area. So the goal for this trade is going to be to, if we can, to lock in at least $300 on each account. I would like more, but since I got the worst feel, since I wasn't patient enough, we may not get that. So let's just kind of see what happens. The ES is approaching the VWAP again here. I'd like to see us trade through the VWAP strong there. Ideally, I'd like us to trade up into that 65 level. That would be ideal. ES approaching the VWAP here, kind of pushing through there right now. See if the NQ can follow. With a little bit of strength would be nice. The ES is approaching it on the 1 minute chart. 3 minute chart there, not quite got to it. The VWAP is at 44.32 on the 3 minute chart. We're at 44.30, so I just want to pierce through this VWAP nice and strong here. Might take it a minute or two to get through there, but that's what we want it to do, get through there nice and strong. Above the pivot point at the 38 now on the NQ. ES has a pivot point at the 36 for us to be aware of. I would imagine if we trade into that 36 area, we will be approaching our target there on the NQ. So really could go ahead and reduce our risk here, because if this trades back through this fair value gap in this order block, then I don't foresee us being on sides. So I could go ahead and reduce risk and move our stop there to 25. I think that's okay. And then we can make a decision. If it decides to kind of come back towards that area, we can decide then whether or not we should move it, but I think that's an okay decision. All right, ES is approaching the 32 level here on the VWAP on the 3 minute chart. You can see the NQ hasn't quite got to the VWAP yet on the 3 minute chart here. I think I am going to go ahead and move my target just to the 65-75 level here. I don't think that's out of reach. I think we can potentially hit that. But got to get through this VWAP area here on in the ES first. So kind of basing right here below the VWAP at that 44.30 level. See if it can't punch through this VWAP pretty strong over here on the ES, and I'm certain that that'll take the NQ with it. All right, right, ES trying to approach that 44.32 level here again on the 3-minute chart. See if it can't just push right on through there. Take us with it. There we go. It's at 44.32.25 there. So it pierced the VWAP there for a second, kind of rejecting it a little bit here. So we want to see this thing just move right on through there. Getting a tiny pullback here on the ES. Hit the VWAP. This may have to gather up some steam before it can get through there. Pulling back into that 44.31 level. See if it just needs to gather up a little steam here. Already kind of basing above the VWAP on the 1-minute chart there. Don't really want it to turn back down here. Want it to kind of continue here with power. Hanging out at the 44.31 right now. We want this to go. I want to get through that VWAP strong, turn that VWAP into support for this move higher here. Get one of them through there. Maybe the NQ can start leading the way. So far, it kind of seems like the ES is leading the way. Let's get them both through there and get them both moving up towards the target here. All right, ES back above the VWAP now. Looking strong now. Now we really want to get that NQ above the VWAP. I want to get this ES to continue to move on up here. Up to 44.32.50 on the ES. Got this candle close above the VWAP here. Wanted to continue to keep pushing. I'm trying to be aware that, you know, my field is really 10 points higher than it should be. I did this last night too. Took the entry in a not great spot. I don't know why I do that. I need to work on that, because while it didn't come all the way back to where I anticipated it to, it came pretty close. One tick. So ES is above the VWAP here. We want it to hold this VWAP and continue to move higher. That's going to push the NQ above the VWAP as well. Once we move through the VWAP on the 3-minute chart here on the ES, then we will go to break even. At that point, it will be a risk-free trade. So that's why getting above the VWAP is important here. ES moving up to 44.33. Again, we have a pivot, I believe, at 44.36, right in that area, 44.35.75. So just trying to be aware of where this pivot is. Not that the ES can't move through there. That's just a potential area where we could kind of turn around. So before the ES gets to there, would like for us to kind of be to our target, but we may not be. we're going to have a bit of resistance here at the VWAP. We got the 50 kind of psych level and the VWAP right there with it. So need the ES really to spike through here strong. The ES is breaking back below the VWAP here. Not in love with that. As you can see, we're turning back down as well here a little bit. Still above the VWAP on the 1 minute chart though. When you really need to turn this 15,235, 38 level right there at the pivot kind of into some support here. Continue higher. Trading back into the fair value gap there on the 3 minute chart as well as the 2 minute chart. So that may just be the pullback here just to offer, you know, well, we already traded back into it once, but again, if it comes down here and takes our stop out, then I just feel like we're just offsides. Or, you know, our typical, we're looking for typical 20 points. And if we had taken a 25 entry, we traded up almost to 45. So you would have almost gotten your 20 points out of it. Let's see what happens here. See if the ES can get the power to get back above the VWAP here and get going. At this point right here, the ES has got kind of a double top on it. I would expect this thing to start moving back up here momentarily, but may not. Don't know if I'm loving where my stop is now. Let's see how this reacts to this order block here, if it respects it at all. Then the question is going to be, do we move this back down 10 more handles, risking $400 instead of $200, or what? I like to see the body of this candle respect kind of the 50% area of this order block here. Do have a volume imbalance here. There's also a little small imbalance down here. This is where I originally wanted my first entry to be, but it's fine. The ES looks like it traded back into the order block as well. It's kind of bouncing out of there in a similar fashion. I do believe I'm going to leave my stop right where it is.
Stop filled.
And we're stopped out. I didn't want to continue to, you know, ride this down in the red. Right? So we have a nice structure shift to the upside here. This might trade all the way back down into our imbalance here, which would have been our original thought for an entry, right? It would be this imbalance here at 20. So we may go ahead and try this original idea. If it comes all the way back down and tags us in, this will just be risking basically another $200. So we're either going to be down $450 or we get a nice winner. And we could just be offside, right? I mean, this should trade up into this fair value gap here. It could just be trading up into that gap to kind of come back down. ES is still kind of respecting that order block that it has right there at the 29, 28 level. And see, this is my struggle with the with this setup here, because I should have been, I really should have been taking a long right here at 25, right? So if I took the long at 25, this trade's almost up to 45. Basically 20 handles. I'm sure at this point I would have locked in, probably $200. Instead, we lose $200 because I got a worse feel. Couldn't move my stop to break even until we kind of got through that VWAP area there. And then, I didn't keep my stop where it needed to be there. Yeah, I don't know how in love with this I am, because the 15-minute chart is not looking all that bullish, to be honest with you. $15-minute chart's kind of looking weak. Kind of the line in the sand here on the ES is that 28 level. If it holds that 28 level, then we can still move up. If we lose that 28 level on the ES, then I think we sell back down pretty quickly. So let's kind of see what happens here. Well, I would think it would move back down to this 15,220 level, but maybe not. ES is kind of holding up here. I'm going to go ahead and take these off the board there. Kind of second guessing. This thing pops out of here. This is really going to make me mad. Right back to my entry there. Guess I should have never moved that, huh? You know, guys, I can make an argument for both directions here, right? We have a shift in structure here, traded back into it, moved up. Now we have a shift back in structure to the downside, traded back into it. I mean, is it going to continue to move down? That's the hard part. Or is this going to bounce out of here? I'm watching the ES. The ES is kind of holding this 30 level. That 28 level is kind of the line in the sand there. I want to take a long here, but at the same time, just second guessing myself after getting stopped out on that first one there. Thinking could just be wrong. It is a case where it was kind of similar to last night, where the ES is looking a little bit stronger here than the NQ is. All right, we're going to take another stab long here.
Fill.
We may get punished for it. Just got to put our stop to where it should have been the first time. It's where we had it the first time and we didn't leave it there. If this works out or not, this will be the last trade of the session. So I'm going to kind of target the 66 level here. Just need the ES to hold the 28 level. I think as long as it holds that 28, we'll be okay. ES needs to get above VWAP here and get going. Or maybe the NQ is going to start leading the ES here and just take it down with it. I was liking how we were kind of holding the 20 SMA there. We did dip below it, but we were kind of basing right there at it. So that's what I was thinking. Of course, as soon as I enter, the ES starts pulling back. And so does the NQ here. ES pulled back into the 44.29 level here. Not really in love with this, to be honest with you, at this point. Thinking of just taking this off for the L potentially. Trying to give it a minute, see if the ES can bounce out of here. The longer this kind of bases in this area, the weaker it kind of looks, to be honest. I'm going to take it off. Just eat my loss on the top step here, because we don't have as much, $1,000 daily loss limit on top step. Got a little bit more play on the apex. Just the more and more I look at this, this looks pretty weak. I mean, it still could go, but the ES is looking a lot stronger than the NQ here during this session. But this certainly was our trade. I mean, we just fumbled it. Entry. Even if I entered at the 25, we wouldn't have quite got $400, but would have been right at it, just targeting the closest swing high. So this may still go, but I don't have huge confidence in it at this point, so I just wanted to reduce my risk. Like I said, the ES is looking a lot stronger than the NAS. NAS, for whatever reason, just not looking that strong on the higher time frames. 15-minute chart, we were trending down. We had one nice green candle up, and then beyond that, not much going on. So I mean, the ES is holding that 20 SMA nicely, and it's still basing between the 20 and the VWAP. Kind of show you here what I'm looking at over there, since we're no longer in it on this one. So you can see the ES just looks a little stronger than the NAS here. I mean, we've traded up above the VWAP, kind of rejected it, held to 20. NAS never got above VWAP, traded below the 20, 3-4 candles here already. So it just looks quite a bit weaker. And I just kind of feel like we're probably about to get a sell-off, to be honest with you. That's kind of my gut feeling here. Not that it's been right at all, right? Let's see, entry on the ES would have been 28.50. Did it offer 5 handles? Almost. So the ES kind of double topped here. Kind of come up on the top of the hour there. Got a little surge up. And kind of reduce risk here a little bit. I mean, this thing still has the potential to go, but man, the ES has got to get above that VWAP in order for that to happen. It's got to get going. It's got to go now. ES approaching the VWAP again. See if it can't get through there. Yeah, it's just not having the power to get through there. I mean, it's holding the 20 SMA nicely so far, but it's not having the power to push through that VWAP yet. Get above that VWAP, get above that 44.33, 44.34 level here, and we may have blast off, but until then, it's going to kind of just be what we get right here. I mean, I could go ahead and move my stop to just break even here, but most likely would just get tagged out, honestly. Need it to go, need it to go. If it's going to go, need it to go now. This might be a trade where I just leave this on and go to bed, to be honest. Risking $100 at this point. Got my stop right here at the bottom of this last candle. So if we continue in this uptrend, then stop should be okay. If we don't, then it will probably take the stop. Right now we are above the 20 SMA on the 3-minute chart here. Really need to hold that level. The ES is pulling back to the 20 SMA there, kind of bouncing off of it. Just got to get above the VWAP strong here. Honestly, if we would get above the VWAP, then above that 33, 34 level, I'd feel comfortable just moving my stop to break even and just going to bed and see if this thing can't hit 66. That'd be 34 handles, $680 potentially. So and the NQ looking weak here, might just stop us out.
Stop filled.
And there you go. 2 losers for the night. Feels pretty bad. Was in the green on both, really. You know, entry at 32, went all the way up to 39.7. So we're up maybe 140 bucks. This just feels, I mean, it just felt very, very heavy. Like this is just going to sell off, to be honest with you. So, anyways, we'll lick our wounds. We're down $690 on this particular session. We kept our losses relatively small, so 364, 326. This gives us an opportunity this morning for the New York session to have a nice little winning trade, you know, get a little $400 or $500 winner, get back to green. So we're just going to follow our rules. Like I said, we took 2 entries. Unfortunately, took a loss on both. But as you can see, we were in the green on both. Not long, but the old me would have been at break even. I'm telling you right now, these stops would have been at least at break even, and we would just be at $0 now. Sometimes that's okay. You know, you feel like when you have trades like this, right? You're like, man, if only I just had my stop at break even. But it's not what you should be doing. Anyways, going to go ahead and call it a stream there. We'll be back live at 9:20 a.m. this morning. Appreciate you joining me. And if you like this, like and subscribe. And we'll see you at 9:20 a.m.